Welcome back, guys, for part two of my matchmaking experience. So, yes, I hired a matchmaker. So, I want to be able to go through the overall review of 3-Day Rule. I want to also go over the overall review of the process within itself, um, how great Stacy was, and then going through like the process of the ups and downs and highs and lows that you may or may not experience with matchmaking. And then also too, the difference between dating coaching and matchmaking. And I also want to go into the pricing as well. So it's gonna be one of those like, let's close it out and give you my recommendations type business. So so I went on a total of 6 dates. There were 7 matches during the process. And I think the reason why I was able to get so many matches was due to me not being fully specific on a person's looks. I wasn't going for looks in that way. I was going for compatibility and like if I am attracted to this person. And so that was my main concern and my main focus. My main goal was making sure that there was compatibility between me and the person, because the person could be like super handsome and not so nice to me and didn't hit anything that I wanted in regards to my standards. And so I wanted to make sure that whoever it was that I was interested in, we were compatible in that way. So that's one kind of pro tip that I could give anybody who's going for matchmaking, is like being really specific on what it is you want internally on the person and what that means, and not being so focused on external attributes. So that's one pro tip, and that was kind of the main reason as to why I'll say as to why I got so many matches. So the contract that I had was the 3-month contract, and in that contract is 1 month, 1 date per month. So you go on 1 date per month with a guy that your matchmaker chooses. So what happens is when you get a match, your matchmaker will say, "Hey, I have a match for you. Go through the profile, go through the pictures. Let me know if this person is, if you'd be interested of going out on a date with this person." You can either say yes or no. If you say yes, then she gives your number to the person with a little bit of a prompt of kind of like what to say, and she gives you a prompt of what to respond back. And so, "Hey, so and so, thank you so much for reaching out. I'm looking forward to meeting you." And then they hit you back with, "Hey, are you available on such and such a date at such and such a time? Or do you have any allergies or things like that?" And then you guys set it up and hook it up. And then you do not like contact one another like until you guys meet, which is great because it helps with the anticipation and it allows for you to like figure out things to discuss. So that's really great. So within my contract, 3 matches for the entire experience because I got the 3-month contract. So 3 matches through the entire experience. And Stacy gave me 7 matches. One of the guys said that I live too far. So another pro tip, if you're looking to doing matchmaking and you are located in the Inland Empire, one thing that I recommend for anyone going through an experience such as this one is making sure that you are understanding of being far out from people. If they're out in the LA area or the San Diego area or the OC area, we may be a little too far. Um, and the Inland Empire, what I've noticed is, yes, more and more singles are coming out this way. However, you do got to go to the bigger cities to experience people, like single people like yourself, right? And so getting outside, another recommendation, like get outside and go to brunches out in the city, and not, like the IE is a little bit more married folks and married with families. Suburbs is kind of what it's giving, and so you want to be where it's live. So anyway, so I went on 6 dates. There were 7 matches. The seventh match actually, or not the seventh match, he was probably the second or third match. And he was like, she lives too far. Like, I don't even want to waste her time. He looked great on paper. And so, but I live too far for him. And that's okay. Like, I understand. So, the other dates, the guys were able to meet me halfway. So, second date, I went to Corona. We went to a nice a dinner. Like, it was like a lunch date is what it was. And the third date, the guy said that I lived too far, so that's fine. The fourth date, the guy actually came out to Temecula, which is great. And we had dinner and it was great. However, during this process, I also realized that you can have all the confidence in the world. Have all the confidence in the world. I had to learn through this process, and even before this process, but I went into this process with, I'm not for everybody and everybody's not for me. And so with that kind of mentality, it was able to get me through this process, because there were guys that I was like, maybe. And there were some guys that were like, nah, I'm good, I'll pass. And I won't go on like a second date or anything like that. And I really had to like regroup really quick. A lot of the guys, they were able to meet up halfway, and there was one guy like went on a date with, he seemed pretty great on paper. We met in person. He was nice, doted on me and all of that. And listen, when I go outside, we step out. I'm stepping out, and this is what it is. I'm putting my best foot forward, because again, this is an investment. I have a goal. I'm going after it. I want to do it. And so, so I did that, and I'm very proud of myself that through this process, I gave it my all the way through. We had a really great date. So something that you're going to experience as well, possibly, is that you'll have really great dates. And they may walk away and you think that it's you got it, and you may walk away and it's great, all of that, and then you get a feedback conversation with your matchmaker and it just doesn't align. Like, he's like, I'm not interested, we don't have a lot of things in common. Even some guys will say, I'm not physically attracted to that person. And so again, like, you have to go into this process with knowing that you're not for everybody and everybody's not for you, and going in and having high confidence, and keeping that confidence is another huge thing that I would recommend. So like, if you already deal with kind of low self-esteem in that way, I highly recommend like some type of like inner self work at that point, because yeah, this process is pretty rugged, especially being a woman of color, being a Black woman. It's a little different as well, as far as like the preferences and what type of preferences, and interracial dating and fears with that and things like that. Is just, it's a lot. I did go on a lot of dates with all the different shades of men. Like it's white, black, Hispanic, like Spaniard. Like you go through a different plethora of men, and so if you're specific that you only want black men, tell them that. And I went into the process open with whatever race. It didn't matter for me. So after the guy said that we didn't have anything in common and that he wasn't necessarily physically attracted to me, I did have to do a regroup with my matchmaker. And I did have to let her know that I want someone who wants a black woman, who is like, it's either I don't care what her race is, or it is they see my picture and they're like, she's beautiful and I want to go out on a date with her. Like I made it very clear, like I need someone who either is fully aware of of wanting to be with a black woman and that they're fully intentional about that, or someone who is like, she's absolutely beautiful and I want to go on a date with her. I pretty much told her, do not send me on a date with any kind of wishy-washy or men who aren't clear on their intentions, as far as she's not my preference, but like don't send me on dates like that. Like I need someone who's very clear, like she's beautiful, her lineup is really good, she brings a lot to the table, I want to go on a date with her. And it's like, don't push me off to anybody who literally is not feeling me. And so I did have to have a pep talk with her about that. There seemed to be a little bit of confusion as far as like, well, they see your picture and they see that you're black. So, I mean, like, and they think you're stunning and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, that's not what they're coming with, because when we're done with the date, they're saying that they're not physically attracted to me. So which one is it? And so, this goes into much of a deeper conversation. And I know that I have common stories with other friends of mine who are like, yeah, like there are some people who have fetishes, and there are some people who just want to go out on a date with a black girl just to say that they've done it. And so trying to explain that to a matchmaker, or trying to explain that to anyone who does not sit at those tables, don't have friends like that, or you know what I mean? It makes it a little difficult. And that's not to go against, her or anything. I love the fact that we were able to work together in that way, and that I was able to be vulnerable, transparent, open, honest with her about like, hey, let's regroup and let's figure it out together, because ain't no way you're sending me on dates with men who end up at the end of the night saying I'm not physically attracted to her. And it's not because I'm like, oh, this gorgeous and stunning person. No, it's more so of like, they saw my picture. And so like, what are we talking about? So it was very much so eye-opening for me, this process. So I went on a date, a FaceTime date, because I was feeling very, very sick. I'm a woman who likes to keep her word, and so we had already planned this date, and so I said, let's go ahead and do a FaceTime date. I had a lot going on, and so I just said, we'll do a FaceTime date. We did it. I was not interested in this person at all. It just didn't vibe. There was no connection, no emotional connection, none of that, like, whatsoever. And so I did let Stacy know, like, I can't do it. Like, I can't. And so at that point, I was like, I'm giving up on this process. I'm just over it. Like, I'm just over it. Like, I can't give it anymore. I just felt like low in that process. And this is after 5 matches. This is after 6 matches, 5 dates. And I was just like, I can't give it anymore. Dating, I don't think people talk about it enough. Dating is very, very, very there's a lot that goes into dating, a lot. And we do not talk about it enough. There's getting your hair done, getting your nails done, getting lashes together, getting the outfits together. It's it's a process, and um it's a lot. And so yeah, at that point I was just like, I'm done. I'm done. Like, going out on 5 different dates in 2 months, it's a lot. So I was really done with the process at that point. And number 6 came. And so I actually was in Belize. I went to Belize for my birthday. So the contract ended. The contract ended end of April. Stacy sent me a match, I want to say 2 weeks before my contract ended, and a week before the contract ended. And she was like, I still want to hear about your thoughts about this date. I still want to hear about the date. We're not done. She's like, I'm so hopeful for you. And what I will say about Stacy is that she has always been excited for me. And even though the contract is done, she's like, I still want to know more. I still want to hear more. I still want to she's like, yeah, I want to know more. She's very excited for me. She's very excited for me. And I can appreciate that in a matchmaker who is just yeah, I'm working for you. I'm making this happen. So she sent me my last match, and I was just like, okay, girl. Just whatever. I'm so I was literally just, I'm so over this. I'm so over it. And she sent it to me, I think, right before I hopped on the plane. And I was just like, okay, whatever. Who cares? So she's like, this is going to be great. I think this is a great match. I'm like, okay, fine. So I get to Belize. I think there's a couple days that go by, and my 6th match reached out to me. On my 6th date, reached out to me. And we were going back and forth, and it was great. Great guy. He's like, let's FaceTime for our first date, since you're going to be gone for so long. And also, too, making sure your schedule aligns with the process as well. So if you have a vacation coming up in the smack dab middle of your process, I would just still go through the process, but you could freeze your account. You could just say, I'm gonna freeze my account because I'm gonna be gone, and I'm gonna be traveling. However, because I was at my parents' house and I was able to be in a solidified spot with Wi-Fi and all of that, it was perfect. It worked out great. So we had the FaceTime date, and it was phenomenal, fantastic, amazing. When I got back home, the guy and I, we finally went on our first date, and that was fantastic. And I'm gonna leave that as that, because I want to leave that experience close to my heart. And just let God work through that. I'm gonna just let God work through that. Stacy was like, how did the first date, official date, go? And I gave her the review. I filled out the feedback form. So after every single date, you have a feedback form that you have to complete. I completed the feedback form, and you have a call scheduled with your matchmaker after every date. So spoke with her about the date. She's super excited about it. She's just like, so when the contract is done, you are now a part of their database. So if somebody says, hey, I want a Black woman who's successful and she lives in this area, then they'll reach out to me. And if I'm still available, not booed up or not married, not engaged or anything like that, then I can say yes or no to the date. And then go from there. So I'm officially a part of their database. So yes, when you're done with your contract, you are officially a part of their database in the 3-Day Rule database. that's a benefit of that as well. As I stated before, Stacy was great. She was amazing. I loved her. Like, again, she only needed to give me 3, and she gave me 7 matches for my 3-month contract. So that's great. 3-day rule, overall review, absolutely love them. I love the entire program. I love what it's about. Um, I love their pricing module as well. So I believe it's more so like a silver, bronze, and kind of gold. It's like tiered out. So it's a 3-month, a 9-month, and a 12-month package. The 3 to 12 months can range from $5,000 all the way up till about 20K, which is more so on the, like, I guess you could say, lower ends of matchmaking. I've seen upwards to, 25, 30 grand for matchmaking services. And so I don't gotta like that, so I'm not gonna do that. But I went into it with, hey, you know what? I invest so much into my career. I want to be able to invest in my love life as well. And throughout this process, what I learned is that my standards that I have are doable. They're doable. I think that there is this misconception a little bit, like, oh, you have to shift your standards and change it, whatever. No, I think my standards are kind of, they're up there, but it's doable. And to be able to go through this process and essentially be blessed with different types of walks of men, but that align with my standards, just gave me the reassurance that I needed. Alongside of that, like, the caliber of men in this or the caliber of men that you want are very intelligent and challenging. This process challenged me. It challenged me. And it challenges you in a good way, to the point of, like, yeah, you need to keep up with current events. Yeah, do you read? Yeah, do you work out? Like, those conversations go down at dinner. Like, what are your goals in life? What do you want out of life? What are you passionate about? What is your purpose? Like, those are the conversations that I don't even ask those questions. These questions are coming from the men. And so I'm like, wow, you know what I mean? Like, what are your hobbies? Like, those types of questions. And so I would very much so challenge people. I think I've seen a lot of things where it's like, well, you're asking for X, Y, and Z. Do you do X, Y, and Z for yourself? And I think there is so much that goes into that, because I know that I did the work on myself before I got into this process. And so I encourage people to feed into yourself, love on yourself, take care of yourself in that way before even dabbling into matchmaking or dating coaching. So, recommendation. Would I choose? There have been questions about the differences between dating coaching and matchmaking. Um, if I say, so if I was struggling with dating and I was like, I don't know how to date, I don't know what questions to ask, I don't know how to dress, I don't know how to show up for a date, I don't know about, like, 90 days, the 90-day rules, I don't know about the different chemical hormones that go in and out of women when they're dating in the first 90 days, like, all of that, the vasopressin and all of that stuff. Like, if I needed that information, then I would go to a dating coach. If I needed to learn feminine energy versus masculine energy and the power struggles within relationships, I would go to a dating coach, 1000%. If I'm like, you know what, I'm sick of the dating apps and I need someone who's going to do the selection for me, and you're like, I've done therapy, I've worked on myself, I'm doing that, then I recommend matchmaking if that's your goal. Um, if you're like, I want both and you can afford both, then do both. And some of these dating coaches, they actually do matchmaking as well. So one of the Instagram influencers that I follow for dating coaching is dating coach Anwar. I'll put his information at the bottom below. He's a dating coach and I believe he does matchmaking as well. Don't quote me, but his price ranges are pretty good as well. And he caters to women of color, specifically Black and brown women. So, highly recommend that because he talks about the pathology of certain things. He gives you like a kind of a background of kind of like why we tick the way we do and things like that. So I would recommend that. You're kind of like, I don't know where I land. I then do the internal work and figure out like what it is that you want. I think a lot of these guys, especially within the matchmaking experience, they're on a journey of like wife. It's not like, oh, this is just long term, like you're gonna be my 5-year girlfriend or 10-year girlfriend. You might find that, I don't know, but a lot of them are like, I want wife. And so would I recommend matchmaking or dating coaching? I recommend both. Run it all the way up, especially with the dating world we have right now. I recommend both. But one or the other, I would say dating coaching, but that doesn't take away from my matchmaking experience. It was an amazing experience and it ended off really well. But yeah. So anyway, I hope that this video helped and assisted anyone who is questioning whether they should do matchmaking, if matchmaking is for them. I did it and it was an amazing journey and an amazing experience for me. I learned so much through the process. I really hope this video helps people. Because there's not a lot out there about matchmaking in that way. And so again, if you live off the East Coast in the DMV area, I would recommend, if you are a woman of color, I would recommend the black owned matchmakers. If you are like, I want to do dating coaching, there's dating coach Anwar. There's also Shay Love Diva, I believe. Shay Your Love Diva, I believe her name is. She was on Tamron Hall talking about dating. I follow her as well, in regards to like feminine energy, masculine energies, and dating coaching in that way. So highly recommend it, because some of us are navigating through this blindly or with traumas and triggers and toxicity, and so being able to kind of work through that is important. But again, I had a great journey. I really enjoyed it from February to the end of April, and it's fantastic. I enjoyed my time. I did. And so, that's the feedback. I hope I answered all of the questions. If I didn't, please go ahead, comment, or reach out to me via email. Comment down below. I'll respond as quickly as possible. But yes, good luck to everybody on their love process and their love journey. It's hard out here, but it's doable. So thanks everybody. Like, subscribe, comment, all of it.